Oh, and here we go. We are live. What is going on, everybody? How we doing? I don't know if it's the morning, day, night when you're listening, but I'm just glad you're listening. What is going on? The weather's finally starting to break, it seems. Let's see if it holds. But before we get going, I want to say a big shout out to the people that helped make this episode possible.
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals.
Not bad. Give me 1 second to get this situated. Yeah, big shout out to people that help make this possible. Make your first steps toward your dream home come true.
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate is here to make it a reality. Expertise in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, Kathy is ready to guide you every step of the way. Reach out today at 401-486-6587 or email kfoisey1@gmail.com.
So big shout out to our newest sponsor, and big shout out to Bob Caradillo, child advocate. Appreciate all of the support. But yeah, I figured, we come back today. I planned on doing this yesterday, but my grandkids really, they wasn't really working with me. I ran to the store. I said, I'll come back. I'll do the podcast. Loving memory of Miss Boletta Wallace. Biggie Smalls' mom passed away this week. I think she was 78 years old. She passed on. Shameful. How about Dan McKee saying, Rhode Island stands with our neighbor and governor of Maine, where he would rather forego federal funding than cave to Trump regarding transgenders. The only thing I think this guy got it twisted. I don't think this guy speaks for Rhode Island. I think he speaks for himself. Actually, I don't believe Rhode Island feels that way, but nobody even elected this guy, right? He was handed his position. So when the election comes, we need to go to the polls and get rid of this wacko Dan McKee. He's going to screw us all out of federal money. And here he is right here. The John DePietro show posted that Governor of Rhode Island and Governor of Maine, our states stand together against Donald Trump. And this is what's going to make you guys lose the election. And I think I also seen on, let me see if I could go back and find it. There was a video of Trump inside the, let me see, where is it? More bookmarks. There was a video of Trump talking at one of the meetings, and he speaks to, I think it's this way. He ends up speaking to the governor of Maine. I'll have to find it. I thought I might have shared it. But yeah, he's speaking to the governor of Maine, and the governor of Maine gets real, crap. He says, we'll see you in court. And he said, well, Maine will not get federal funding, and if you're willing to sacrifice federal funding, I don't know. Transgenders do not belong in high school sports, or any kind of sports. A man pretending to be a woman for opportunity, and where's all the women on this issue? They just total I'm glad Trump took care of it, but they totally stepped on Title IX women's rights. Title IX was put in to protect females, to protect the woman. Where are you guys in all of this?
Nobody likes Virginia.
It absolutely, it doesn't make any sense at all. And it says Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, Rhode Island stands with our neighboring New England state of Maine, where we would rather forego federal funding than cave to Trump regarding transgender athletes. Let me tell you, there's only two genders, a boy and a girl. And anybody that can't understand that, I don't know, there might be something wrong, with the way you are thinking. How did your mom raise you, right? A boy. I know when I was taught what a girl was, I never forgot what a woman is. Never forgot, never passed my mind. Like, I know. You know what I mean? I know what a man is. I know what a woman is, but nobody even elected this guy, Dan McKee, man. Definitely gotta get this guy, out of there. Let me see if I can find the video with Trump. But I wanted to talk about, some kids sticking to one sport. President Trump referred to Maine's Governor Janet Mills as a he or him at least 6 times during a phone call. President Trump eviscerates Maine Governor Janet Mills for allowing men to compete in women's sports. It was glorious. But the Maine governor, along with the Rhode Island governor, will keep federal funds from the citizens of their state. A man is a man. Men should never be in women sports. Absolutely not. If you agree, let me know in the comment section. She issued the following statement. If the president attempts to deprive Maine school children of the benefits of federal funding, my administration and the attorney general will take all appropriate and necessary legal action to restore that funding and the academic opportunity it provides. The state of Maine will not be intimidated by the president's threats. Well, then your people will be. He's well within the law. Don't get no money then, right? You want to have boys and girls sports, then it is what it is. You guys are going to fall on your sword. Oh, no, he's not a dictator, man. We shouldn't have men and women sports. Yeah, I mean, and if you can't understand that, I mean, that's crazy. How's he a dictator? Imagine what we would have been going through right now if Kamala Harris was our president. Like, it would be total awful. So whether you like Trump, you don't like Trump, you can't deny that he was best for the country right now. Like, God knows where we would be. If Kamala Harris was, wanted to, if she became president, it would be like absolutely totally insane. I mean? Like, I know our parents, your parents, they would never agree. They would never agree that a man should be competing against a woman, and the whole dictator thing is like, you out of your mind. 100%. Yeah, totally. A lot of people go on with that felon thing. Some businessmen talk and say that, a lot of people are probably gonna move their business out of New York, but the country is absolutely in a much better place You know what Doge is doing. You know, and the Democrats don't want Doge doing what they're. And I'm not here to talk politics, but Democrats don't want Elon Musk and whatever he has going on. They don't want them looking at things because they're gonna find the paper trail. They're gonna find why Elizabeth Warren is worth millions. They're gonna find why Clinton's daughter is worth millions and millions. You know, they're gonna figure all of that stuff out. But I definitely want to share this. If you could take a chance to share it. But what we're gonna talk about today is should students be specializing in one sport? Like if you got a football player and he wants to concentrate in football, you know, is there anything against him not playing the other sports? Let me know what you think about that. We're gonna talk about that. I'm just trying to get that ain't it. We're gonna talk about that. Coventry has a new coach. You know, some people are not happy with what Coventry did. Some people say that it was based on politics. Hiring Gervasini was a political. They're saying that it was a political gain. You know, that they only did it because he's a teacher in the building. You know, but I think Gervasini. I think what he has done in football merits him getting a chance for a job. I talked to people that coached with him in the last, like he hasn't coached, I think, in the last 2 years, unless I'm wrong. But I remember a few years ago, he coached under Dwayne Miranda, you know. So I talked to people with that administration and people that know him. I talked to his former athletic director, and he thinks Gervasini is going to be good, you know, as a head coach. Gary Goodhart, Gervasini was his DC for a year, and he also said that he thinks Gervasini, given, you know, if he puts the right staff together, you know, he'll be a very good head coach, you know. So Coventry has Gervasini. Not sure what Situate did, but I know the Situate coach resigned. EWG, I heard that coach was stepping down. Not really sure. The Tollgate job, you know, I'm not really sure about them positions, but you know, them jobs should be coming available. I think Gaychuk ended up getting the Tiverton job. You know, his two sons ended up they played for Tiverton. One went on and played for UMass Dartmouth. You know, they both went to UMass Dartmouth. One played, you know, I gotta say, when Gaychuk was up at UMass Dartmouth, was putting up great numbers. You know, Gaychuk ended up working with Dante for a year. You know, during the COVID year, really, you know, helped Dante, you know, fine tune what he needed, you know, to step in and take over. But I don't think anyone knew that Dante was gonna be what he was. I don't think anybody knew that Dante was going to come out the gate, break all types of records. Yes, we're actually going to give him his due, you know, but Dante broke all kind of school records, you know, so salute to him. So this guy is now out. Thank God. I said it when he was hired. He was going to be the worst coach, you know, horrible. And it was a horrible hire. And this is what happens. Coventry lets kids be on the hiring board. So they have students, you know, that are in there asking the coach questions. And I always thought that was crazy, you know. But let's talk a little bit about the impact of specialization in high school sports. You know, it's gaining a lot of traction, you know, in the last couple of years. You know, a lot of these athletes, you know, they're choosing to focus on one sport year round. Is there a problem with that? You know, and I want to hear from coaches, you know, is there a problem with kids choosing one sport year round at the expense of a good, like if you have a player that you know his freshman year, you know, this kid is good. And if we put 4 years of serious hard work and this player says, I really don't want to do other sports, is that cool? Do you have a problem with him choosing to focus on one sport year round? I know a lot of coaches say they like to see kids in other sports, but what are some of the pros and cons of specialization, of having a coach within the school? We're also going to talk about the ownership dynamics of high school sports teams. Some coaches, they think this is my team. I'm going to do what I want, but the school, they think otherwise. The school says, no, it is not your team. It is the school's team. And the school should have say into who you hire. So if you are a coach, do you got a problem with the school saying, nah, you can't hire that guy? It's a bad look for the school. A lot of coaches are saying the school really has no business telling me who I can hire and who I can't hire. And the school is saying, wait a minute, hold up.
Today's episode is brought to you by HomeSmart Professionals, Kathy Fosley. Are you looking to elevate your daily routine, whether it's boosting your morning coffee, enhancing your workout, or simply adding a little comfort to your day? Can We Keep It Real podcast?
Well, check out HomeSmart Realty. Their number is at the bottom, 486-6587. And take the first step towards owning your own home. Let's help the people that help us, right? So we're back to talking about the impact of specialization in high school sports. What are some of the pros? I have a few written down, like skill development. Specialization allows athletes to dedicate their time and energy to really mastering one sport. This focus, it could lead to in getting better, great performance, as players can really get their skills, their techniques, their strategies without the distraction of other sports. Are other sports a distraction? Like basketball and baseball. If you have a baseball player and he wants to concentrate, if he says, Coach, I got a real shot of playing baseball in the pro. I got a real shot of going to college and playing baseball. I don't want to play other sports. I want to dedicate myself to baseball. Or if he's a football player and he says, Coach, I really, basketball is cool and all, but I would rather really, I'd rather just stick to the sport that I think I have a good shot of getting recruited to. I mean, increased opportunity, is another pro. Athletes, they're going to specialize. They'll definitely have a better chance of earning a scholarship or positions at the college level. I mean, a lot of coaches are always going, a lot of coaches are moving out, they're going with the experienced, especially with the transfer portal in college, in some sports. How about a competitive edge? You have a player that wants to play one sport. They want to dig in year round. I'm just trying to share this. But they have one player and they want to go year round in that sport. So, some coaches are going to be like, nah, rather you, do the football thing, or I'd rather you do the baseball thing, play basketball, play other sports. I had a coach with somebody today that says, well, kids get burnt out like that. But just playing a couple months, because let's face it, there's a lot of coaches, you don't see them until the season begins. They said, we ain't popping out until August. We ain't popping out until, whenever the date starts for their respective season. You know, you see a lot of coaches do that too. And then so that way you only have a couple weeks. You only have really a couple weeks to really get that kid trained, get him motivated, get him ready. And if that player is going, you know, doing things year round, you know, is that good? Is that bad? I mean, because competition's getting deadly, it's getting grimy, it's getting fierce. You know, so maybe specialize in one sport can provide these players with a competitive advantage over peers. You know, kids that are not as focused, kids that are playing basketball, you know. But what are some of the things, and please put put in the comment section what you really feel about this, because I know there's coaches right now that are watching this. You know, you gotta pay now to share it on Twitter as well, which that's pretty crazy. You know, but what do you think about, you know, what are some of the pros and what are some of the cons? I mean, injury is definitely a big one. Playing one specialized sport, can it lead to overuse injuries, right? As the same muscle, the same joints are stressed over and over again. You know, can it result in long-term physical issues that may affect an athlete's future? I mean, playing multiple sports can do that as well. Are you going to get burnt out? I think somebody might have mentioned today about getting burnt out. You know, sometimes kids get burnt out, and we've seen it with players. We've seen it with a former Hendricken player, and he went and picked a college. He was so done with football. He picked a college that didn't even offer football. So can you get burnt out? You know, the pressure to perform. You know, is it going to lead to mental, emotional stress? You know, are these young men or young women as well, are they going to feel overwhelmed, lose their passion for the sport? Is there going to be a decline in performance? How about enjoyment? You see a lot of these players, you know, they're playing to their parents. Their parents just couldn't be the one, and they want their kids to, you know, to do it for them. Are you burning out these kids? How about it specializing in one sport? Are you missing out? Are you getting limited experience on the benefits of playing multiple sports? Are you developing diverse skills? Different types of coaching styles? You know, working with different groups of players. I mean, these are all things that we could think about when we talk about specializing one sport. Should a kid just play one sport? I mean, if you know that this kid has a really good opportunity, you know, to go on and play at the collegiate level, would it be better for that kid just to concentrate on basketball all season, year round? Or, you know, if it's football or if it's baseball, you know, so specializing in sports, in one sport. Let me know what y'all think about that. You know, the next thing we are going to talk about is coaches and the schools. The schools think that this is our team, coaches. This isn't your team. You are just here to coach. You are here to call plays. But you do not have the right to hire your own staff. You have to go through us. The athletic director don't even have the right. We want to know, and the administration, they don't want guys, you know, they're not going to let you just bring in anybody. Is it the school's team or is it the coach's team? I mean, the role of coaches in schools, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. definitely support those who make this possible. And if you're looking to buy a home,
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate is here to make it a reality. Expertise in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, Kathy is ready to guide you every step of the way. Reach out today at 401-486-6587 or email kfoisey1@gmail.com.
thank you, Oprah. But big shout out to HomeSmart Professionals. You're thinking about buying a home, give Miss Kathy a call. It don't have to be just a dream. It could definitely be a reality. But the role of coaches in schools, and this segment is brought to you by Robert Caradillo, child advocate. We appreciate Bob Caradillo and all the help he has been. But having at least one coach in the school building can really impact some sports programs. They could relate, they could talk to the kids. Somebody asked that, what about coaches that are in the building? So I think every school should have a coach. Every team should have one of their coaches in the building, but we're talking about the ownership of the team. Is it the coach's team? Is it the school's team? Who has ownership? Does the coach have the right to hire whoever he wants? Who has ownership of the team? Because the question of ownership in high school sports, it's really starting to get some headway lately. Schools are telling coaches, yo, pump your brakes, bro. You doing too much. And the coach is like, pump my brake. This is my team. School's like, no, it's not your team. It's the school's team. Athletes represent their school, their community. The school puts money into the program. Our coaches right here, is it the coach's team? Should the coach be able to bring in anybody they want, hire who they want? But what's the dynamics here? Because is it resembling, a sole proprietorship? Especially if a particular athlete or coach takes on a dominant role. But the school really, they do have a point here. I really can't, I really think I have to side with the school here, even though the coach knows who he wants to coach on his team. But if a particular athlete, a coach, taking them on, and the school is not happy, they don't make that school look good, should the school have a beef? So who has the ownership? Does the coach have the ownership? Does the school have the ownership? I really think that they need to get together. They need to talk this out. But it is it's a great question. It is an absolute great question about who basically takes on ownership of the program. Is it the coach? When this came up the other day, I was kind of like, I kind of understand what the school's talking about. Oh, what do you mean you understand what the school's talking about? I'm like, whoa. Right now, ownership in high school sports. Teams represent their school, right? It's a sense of pride, responsibility among players, coaches, the administration. The administration needs to be more involved too, and that's why I say shout out to Mr. Hoban. I think he's down Ride now, so we don't really rock with him. But when he was up at Wesley, I gotta say he was at every home game, every away game. So big shout out to Mr. Hoban and all the other administrators that are going to all of the games. But some, is this shit ownership? I mean, athletes should definitely recognize that they represent their school, and so should coaches. But if a coach wants to bring in, his type of coach, should he be allowed to without going through the administration? And the views and opinions expressed in this program are mine, of the speaker and speaker alone, and don't go to any sponsor, any third party entity of the podcast. So we talked about specialization in high school sports. A trend, in high school sports where athletes, they're focusing on a single sport year round, and it's gaining some popularity. And then the other coaches are getting pissed because they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Hey, they don't want to go play multiple sports. Big shout out to Rally Point. The only way to stand is together. Yeah, these kids, they don't want to play multiple sports. We talked about ownership of the team. Who has final say about a coach? Does the coach have final say who he wants to bring into his program, what he wants to do with his program? Does the athletic director have final say? Does the administration have any say? The administration's like, pump your brakes, coaches. This shit belongs to the school. You were just there to call football. That's it. This isn't your team. You don't own the team. We'll let you know. You let us know who you want to hire, and we'll let you know if you can hire that person. So do the schools have a leg to stand on, or should coaches be able to hire who they want? But then if you do that, you got this. But they should be able to hire who they want, right? Yes? No? Keith Croft, man. Keith Croft got coach of the year, Sports Illustrated. The only problem I have with that, and I think I'm going to speak for a lot of people, shout out to Keith Croft. I think what he does as a manager of a program, he's great, man. Like all them championships. But Keith Croft, let's face it, he's not a coach, right? He don't coach the team. He's a great manager. Don't get me wrong, Keith Croft. But he is not the coach of the team. He don't call plays. So you want to say, manager of the year, 19 championships, whatever it is, outstanding. But coach of the year, as far as Sports Illustrated, I don't know, man. I said Coach Ferraro was coach of the year, and I heard, I heard a story about how Marcone ended up getting coach of the year this season. Was basically, I think the vote was going for Coach Ferraro. They had a few guys that was all in on it, and then Keith Croft jumps up and he was like, nah, Coach Marcone. We have one more chance to, Coach Marcone. So at that point, I guess it ended up going to Coach Marcone. He didn't want it if it was like a Lifetime Achievement Award type deal. But and that's how he got coach of the year. But I don't think Keith Croft is coach of the year. Coach, no. Manager of the year, manager of the decade, does a great job. But we all know Keith Croft does not call plays. Shout out to Keith Croft. No hate at all. Shout out to him. you know, and, I'll be besides myself, but I'd say shout out to my son, Eric, man. You know, look at my boy playing tennis, proud kid. Got a forehead only a mama can love. But realistic expectations for athletes, right? A lot of coaches, D1 or bust, whether determining now if a player, has the potential to compete at the D1 level, the D2 level, the D3 level. I mean, it really requires, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be honest with your kid. And come on, coaches, man. I know you want to push your kid D1 or bust, D1 or bust, but we're not developing D1 athletes, right? Yeah, we send some kids to some D1 programs. Shout out Hendricken. They just sent 3 linemen up to URI. I have 3 linemen go D1. Whether what side of the D1 tier you fall on. I mean, something have to be said for that. And I think that's why LaSalle over the years never could really compete with Bishop Hendricken. I mean, the math alone, over 20 years, Marcone should have at least, it should be a 60-40 split, 70-30 split. No way in the world should Hendricken have 17, 18, 19 championships and LaSalle only have like 3. Just the math alone don't add up. I mean, you got the 2 schools that get a majority of the best players in the state. So the split got to be, and North Kingstown stepped in, took a couple. The split got to be better than one team has 19 and another team has 3. So, but we'll see. With Dan Copeland now in there, and I heard he's bringing on, I could possibly have a freshman coach pretty soon, to help start developing kids. He's definitely doing the right thing. Dan Copeland, you want to follow the trend. You want to keep guys that are connected with the youth football, connected to your program. LaSalle and Hendricken, definitely unfair advantage when you're talking about that. But realistic expectations, for some student athletes, who's determined, where these kids should fall, D1, D2, D3 level, their skills, who's determined, I mean, this could be definitely a sensitive subject with the coaches and the parents. I mean, you talk to some parents, their head is just thick. Nah, my son D1. Your son goes to your son not D1. Your son's D3. Nah, my son's D1. So he ends up going to a D2 school, don't make the cut, goes into the transfer portal, basically gets stuck in the transfer portal. Ends up have to come back, go to community college. And then in the end, he ends up on that D3 team that you told him 3 years ago. Listen, this is your best bet. Nah, I'm D1. My son D1. And when it came down to it, he still ended up on the D3 team that we were telling you he was going to be on. But who makes these determinations? Should coaches play a role in providing feedback? Absolutely. They have the a lot of them have the experience to gauge an athlete's potential. Come on now. We see what we're working with. And that's why I think schools are not so fast to get rid of a coach now, because who's out there in the hiring pool? Stanley keeps popping up, getting jobs. But who is out there is, I think Julio Adano is going to be one, of the names that are going to be coming around. Nadim's name is always brought up. Cliff Thornton, he's another one, that's trying to come back to the game after he had his unfortunate circumstances. And Cliff stood tall, true to the ordeal, and he beat the case. He proved what you're saying is wrong. Here's my receipts. Bang. So shout out to Cliff Thornton. So he'll be back around soon. what other coaches, you know, are in the pool. Lehman tried to get the job over there at Coventry, and Gervasini, I talked about him earlier. Is his staff still with him? Because somebody said that his staff was feeling a sort of way that they didn't get the job, or one of their peers didn't get the job, and they said, we don't want to coach with this guy. And I talked about earlier, some people are down on Gervasini. Sal Morano said you won't get a better guy. Jamie Vedolino mentioned, he's going to be a great coach. Coach Pizzato said he's going to do all right, puts the right people around him. He works in the building. Every creator has to come through his class, but some people say he's not it, but we will see. And I absolutely think he's going to be better than Alejandro. You are wrong about that. Someone just said, oh, he's not going to be better than Alejandro. And I'm like, whoa. Speaking of that, big shout out to the sponsors. Rally Point, our newest sponsor. Thank you. And I only did that, Coach Wes Pennington. And, I asked him, I said, was it true that they said in the West Warwick Wizards interview that they wanted you to promise that you got to bring that trophy back to West Warwick? And he said, absolutely. And promise kept. Promise made, promise kept, So shout out to him, back-to-back, making it to back-to-back Super Bowls. Not winning one yet. You're still going to win one. But who delivers the news to these players, should it fall on the coach? Should it fall on the parents that, hey, kid, listen, you are not D1. You are not going to D1. And some parents, like Coach Sermos, Glenn Sermos, one of the realest dudes, my opinion, that I know. Like, he keeps it real. And I think his son knows the expectations as well. I think that St. Ray's team is an absolute great team. I think Meach, becoming a captain this year, I think they're all great ball players over there. Yes, we have a difference of opinion when it comes to quarterback. I'm big on the Nelson Martinez kid. I think that kid, watching what he was doing at Seekonk, yeah, I just think he's a great quarterback, and I just think there's probably ways that you can utilize everybody on that program. But that ain't taking nothing from Tashad. Very, very good quarterback. Very good athlete. You could put him in slot. And I just think I seen a post that they're down in Vegas, at a 7-on-7. So shout out to Club Charlie football, man, holding it down. So coaches should play a role in providing feedback about, where their players are going. Are they D1? Are they D2? And who breaks it to the kids? The coaches at that point backing up, and coaches be in their feelings about talking to some of these recruiters. I ain't talking to him. He did this, he did that. It's real crazy. And like, I had a conversation with a parent the other day, and they was like, well, my kid's a junior this year and he's going to go D1, and how's his grades? Oh, he's going to make it up next year. Well, next year is too late. NCAA eligibility says you only have to like the middle of your junior year to get your grades where they need to be. And then they lock it in, so I don't think you have to your senior year. So you have to get it done. Willie Edwards came on the show one day and he said, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, in 8th grade, you're building, you're starting to build something. You're getting it all together. You're getting your structure. You're building a foundation. And then when you get 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're all in. You have to be all in at 9th grade as a freshman. You can't fall off on these grades now. And you could check out the NCAA website, and they actually have this type of schedule that your kids should have. I could actually post all that, advanced mathematics, so they have all that stuff that you need to get to Division 1 or Division 2. So there's different criterias to get to that division. So parents, listen, if you expect your kid's coming into high school, you got to be on them freshman year. Build that foundation. You got to keep them grades up, because you know what? The days are long, the years are short. I remember my youngest child was 12 years ago. She was born. It seems like it was just yesterday. And I know a lot of you can relate. So you want to get your kids to that D1 level. It's critical that you stay on them grades in the classroom. I like what Coach Pive is doing up there at North Smithfield. He said it took a minute to get the teachers on board with it, but him getting a progress report every week. I don't get that progress report, you ain't playing. And we know North Smithfield can't afford to not be playing players, man. This could be their year. Division 4, you have a lot of kids returning. You have a good quarterback, so let's see. Shout out to North Smithfield. But I like what Coach Pive is doing, getting progress street reports, and this is why it's important for coaches, to have at least one coach working in the building, monitoring them halls, getting on them kids' ass, excuse my language, when they have to. Because let's face it, saying, hey, Johnny, you can't run down the hall. Like, I'm like, yeah, all right, go F yourself, buddy. You really, you got to make them respect you. You have to, your coach, you have to make them respect you, because a lot of these kids will see your shortcomings. They'll manipulate you. They're very good at that, but, parents also play a big role in supporting their kids, in managing some of their expectations and hopes, staying on their grades, getting in that portal. Very, very important, especially early on in high school. So it's important for the coach, the guidance counselor. And I know some guidance counselors are like, yo, it's not my job to get the kid to college. Damn, police investigating a hidden camera inside the bathroom of Rick Dining Hall, Rhode Island College. Hidden camera in the bathroom, you pervert. Horrible. Come on, man. We got to do better. You know what I mean? We got to do better. But a guy like this running the show, like, what do you expect? Yeah, so what's the realistic expectations for these players, man? D1 a bust, and then the kid, I see a lot of kids, they had that D1 mentality, but, it just wasn't, yes, everybody wants to think my kid is the best, my kid D1, but it's about getting a good education. Coach McCormick comes on here and says all the time, your grades, scrub your Facebook, scrub your Instagram, like all that stuff is big. Willie Edwards said, you're building a foundation, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Let's go, get with it. Absolutely. The state is a definition of a dumpster fire. I mean, that is, man. It's crazy. But right, wrong, like, come on. A boy is a boy, a girl is a girl. Like, we got to get away from that place where, yeah, you want to be whatever you want to be, but just don't try to change my life. I don't care if you want to be a cat, a dog, a sheep, a duck, a boy, a girl, what, but you do that. Once you come over here and you change my life around, No, like, come on, man. Like, our grandfathers, they'll be like, yo, if they ever knew that you were cool, they wouldn't stand for that. Never, never. Absolutely not. But we're talking about realistic expectations for athletes. What's the coach's responsibility? The parents, everyone has a job. The athletic, even the athletic director, the guidance counselor, some guidance counselor, you gotta get off your ass. You know what I mean? It's time for a lot of y'all to retire, but I get it. Under Gina Raimondo, it was hard, because of things that she did. So now you gotta work for the rest of your damn life, and you don't give no one else a chance to come in and do the job. But we talked about specialization in high school sports today. Presents, advantages, challenges, when it could lead to enhanced performances, their opportunity. But yes, it also does have a risk as injuries and getting burned out. The presence of coaches in schools is vital, for a supportive athletic environment. We should definitely have coaches in school. And we talked about ownership of programs, within the team. Encourage collaboration. Is the coach's team or is it the school's team? The school's like, yo, pump your brakes, coach. Yo, slow your roll. You're the coach of this team, but this shit isn't yours. You could be out of here tomorrow. So they're like, slow down. You can't hire who you want. It has to look good for the school. And coach is like, nah, this is my team. Man, bump you. The school's like, nah, bump you. And in the end, we all know who wins. The school wins. But we definitely got to balance these factors, right? Have healthier, more, better high school sports experiences going forward. I'm going to work on that myself. I don't know anything else that I left out. The Woonsocket situation, I'm hearing Coach Cahill is predicted to have that job. I'm not sure how true it is, but shout out to Coach B-Ball. And I said on my last show that I did that. I just can't see how they say Coach B-Ball graded a 1 with his players. That's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't get it. And then and then we hear all these rumors, and I did a show on one particular rumor. A lot of people are saying that there was an arrest, but that was false. Same name, different middle name, different date of birth. But I just can't believe that Coach Bebo had a 1 out of a 10 relationship with players. That taking your car, driving your car instead of riding on the bus when you got paid coaches on the bus. That kind of sticks out to me. His coaches not going to the meeting that they had, that kind of sticks out to me. It says a lot. It says either that the athletic director said, yo, y'all ain't going. Y'all do not go. Do not talk to any media. I know they said that because they canceled a college coach from going in the building because they didn't want this getting out. And see, there's just a lot of things that just kind of make you go, in this situation, like it's about baseball season's about to start. And when soccer don't have a baseball coach, somebody mentioned they want to get rid of Huddle, so I just think that you guys definitely had a motive, and this was your chance to get Coach Bebo out of here, But yeah, so but shout out to Coach Bebo. I think he'll bounce back. Some people tell me, hey, be careful, but before you support him, you should wait until the findings come out. I'm like, what findings? There's just a lot of rumors that I just knowing Coach Bebo as a man, I just can't see him. I mean, I'm not saying all of them, but I don't know. But shout out to Coach Bebo. Maybe he'll go up there with Coach Dunbar, huh? Coach Dunbar got another job. He got another job, man. I'm like, whoa. Coach Dunbar got a job up at Portsmouth Abbey. I think he's allowed 3 post grads, so he's going to be stingy with them, but Portsmouth Abbey, they rank down there at Hope High School, last in the state. So it's going to be some work, $80,000 a year. I think if you live on campus, and to get there, it's going to be a logistical nightmare going down one night, Portsmouth, Burrville, Wesley, all places Woonsocket that are tough to get to. So, we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on Portsmouth Abbey and see what they do. Something else that I wanted to talk about coming up is the Burrville field. What's going on with the Burrville football field, man? Is that thing still a litter box? Last I knew, the courts had that held up. I have to check with my people out there in Burrville, and I can't wait next season. We get to see Logan Delinas up there at UMass Dartmouth, following his, a few of his brothers went there. Logan, Jake, Brandon, the Charo. Brandon he's got all types of rings. He had a great high school and college career, Brandon did. And so shout out to Logan, shout out to Jake, shout out to Coach Jelinas, Coach Ferraro, doing great things. West Warwick Wizards, I talked to Coach Pennington. He said, I'm a wizard. I heard Coach Pennington had an offer, you know what I mean? And he said, nah, man, I'm a wizard. Not till we get a Super Bowl over here, So shout out to Coach Pennington, Mike Washington, Keith Croft, don't be mad. Shout out to all the coaches, Blake Simpson holding it down. The Situate coach stepped down, so shout out to him. Damon Scarduzio, I believe it is, and we'll see what Cahill's gonna do up there in Woonsocket, but we'll be back again soon. Big shout out to Bob Caradillo, child advocate, and Home Smart Professionals. And if you want to be a sponsor or help us out, go forward. We're going to do a lot more. Definitely reach out to us.
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate is here to make it a reality. Expertise in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, Kathy is ready to guide you every step of the way. Reach out today at 401-486-6587 or email kfoisey1@gmail.com.
That's the bad guy. Bad guy. Bad guy. That's the bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy. Commission. The bad guy. The bad guy.
Look back and you're gonna see the work back. Oh, they got no chance, like they stuck in the friend zone.
We don't do no talking, we know what they do for the views. If I took a